Well, hello there, everybody. It says that we're live, and I'm assuming, let's see, meeting streaming live. Yeah. So, what do we got that for? Well, good. So, hey, BOSTO to everyone. Favor. I hope your strong end of the week was great, and definitely jamming out to some of the Allman Brothers live at the Fillmore. Man. Saw them when Dickie Betts was still alive. And so hello there, Cajun Queen. How you doing, Lois Malier? Got to get you on, hon. Haven't seen you in a while. So hey, Lucky Stone and Bonnie. So favor be unto us all. So good to see you. Hey, Nina the Mystic. Good to see you as well. Hello, Kaz. How are you doing? Hey, Kaz, you need to check out that group called PFM. I left the link up there. Yeah, I think that'll help give you some inspiration as well. Hey, Barry, Chad, and Posey, and Michael, and David. Barry, how are you, my friend? So good to see everyone. Hey, Big Al, what part of the country are you in, my friend? I hope it's warm. Ethereal Waves, good to see you. And Lady Ely, good to see you. Is that Ellie? I think it is Ellie. Mm-hmm. And there be Miss Marsha Price. And who else? Did I see David Castle? How you doing? Hey, Gaza, how you doing? Morning time down there, huh? So, Charlotte, good to see you. So, Hillard, how the heck is it going? Every day, it's amazing. And then, when you think about it, a day is only here on Earth. We call it Monday. The rest of the universe wouldn't know what the heck we were talking about. Beloved Abstracted to see you at home. Well, good, Big Al. Rest. Good to see you, brother. By the way, they got a big show coming up on Dramana 7 on the 20th. Make sure to check them out. I think it's 7 o'clock my time. Anyway, be telling you more on that. Gandhi, good to see you as well. So, Peter, hello. And Charlene, good to see you as well. It is a happy day. Oh, it's a happy day when yep. You know, we can still think, hey, Lost in Space, good to see you. So, Tanya, good to see you as well. So, had a fabulous knowledge weekend, getting into some interesting books. I got this book in, and wow, this is an interesting book. I don't know if it's Drawing Down the Moon. Margaret Adler is considered to be one of the foremost authors, researchers, knowledge base on paganism, pagan philosophy. It's a fabulous book. It really is. And that is an actual ritual. It's called Drawing Down the Moon. And I'll let you know more. I just literally got it and just started getting into it. But thank you. Thank you, Tanya. Good to see you. Blazing River, how are you, my friend? Speaking healing to everyone. Happy birthday to all those that are having one. Happy anniversary. Because hey, if it's an anniversary or birthday, you made it around. Uh Lucky Stone. Oh, that was really weird. I'm glad you brought that up. Saturday night was with Robert V over at the Milky Way Soul Tribe channel. It was a fabulous time. I enjoyed it. Robert is just he's a great interviewer. He is just a good soul. But boy, there at the end, I guess they didn't like what we be saying. And they shut us off. And YouTube's been having a lot of issues. It was down for 37 minutes, I think, this morning. So yeah. Bonnie says I'm doing rituals tonight. Yeah, it's the new moon. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So what else? Hey, Martin and Heidi, how are you? Good to see you. I say them both because I never know. Hey, Marsha, when you going to come on? Yeah. And by the way, if you ought to check out what Marsha had to say on the Andromeda 7 channel Friday night. Good stuff. Stuff we need to know. Let's see. I like the fact that, remember, judgment is not about punishment. Thank you, Isby. Um, Probably so, Lucky Stone. But remember, judgment is not about punishment. It's about endings so that beginnings can begin. And it's interesting how everything is coalescing, accumulating into what we all know is the age of Aquarius. The age of Pisces has closed. We're entering a new age, and everybody's now talking about it. 2012 is being recycled because people are now realizing, well, the Mayan prophecy sounds more like 2020 than it ever sounded, not 2012. I mean, 2020, it's been a jack year. There ain't no doubt about it. And I don't think 2021 is going to get any less intense. I think we're in for quite the ride. And as long as we can, thank you, Paul Joe. As long as we can keep meeting here, hey, we have a chance. And, I know that there are friendships that are coming here, when we start trusting one another, and it takes a while. You begin to text, and then you pick up the phone, and then, you really do begin to form a friendship. And it's really happening here. So we're going to be reading about that too. All righty. So got a couple of things I wanted to start out with. This is actually an academic paper. This gentleman was writing this for his PhD. And give me 1 second there. There we go. And it's really interesting. If you get on academic.edu, if you really want to expand your gnosis, really grow, that's the place to go. I mean, you've got access to, I don't know, it looks like to me well over probably close to 10 million academic papers, books, research, thesis. It's, yeah, you can grow. So I like how he's doing the background in the foundation of his thesis to the committee, the board. And I found this interesting, that New Age defines as a loose collection of beliefs and practices that share a language of self-spirituality. In other words, New Agers believe the self is sacred in and of itself. He also states that the New Age epitomizes central features of modernity. He also draws a distinction between the New Age and the new religious movements. We're seeing a collapse of the Abrahamic religions. Be candid with you, we're really kind of seeing a breakdown of what has been predominant in our consciousness, at least in the Western aspect. And Western has polluted all of the world, the Western culture. We sacrificed our knowledge from the East so we could have the pleasures of the materialism, and that's what Westernism is about, but I digress. So as we've seen the collapse of Christianity, Judaism, Islam, and I know some people will say, well, no, but it's true. And the thing about it is we're spiritual creatures, and we're going to gravitate to something. It's either going to be, as they say here, a new age, which believes again in that the self is sacred, because if it's not about self, then what is it about? It's about self's journey. And he goes on to say, arguing that not all New Agers are part of I like this, NRMs, but that many NRMs are in fact New Age. There are three key elements to the New Age beliefs. One, it explains why life is not what it should be. Found that interesting. It provides an account of what is to find perfection. And three, it provides a means to obtain salvation. Now, I personally would take issue on number three. I don't know what the definition of salvation is. I mean, I don't know if salvation is defined as rescuing. I mean, these are all terms that would imply that you're in a place that you can't get out of your own means. I don't know. Let me ask you, how stuck are you in reality? Because we're going to get into something as we continue to read on the Pyramid Code. Folks, there is some interesting stuff, but this is a good precursor because it talks about the elements of what we're all involved in. By the way, if you want this this gentleman's thesis, it's one that is well worth it. Here's a good definition of religion. Durkheim says it defines religion as a unified system of beliefs and practices relative to sacred things. Okay. I mean, my question is, do we need religion at all? Does religion serve a purpose? Some would argue, yes, it does. Religion forms boundaries. It forms limitations, and that in order for any society to function with any sense of order, that you have to have boundaries within it. And that's what I see as religion is basically sets the boundaries. And once you set boundaries, you've already limited yourself. And then, you know, what is it here about? He defines, by the way, Wiccans and Druids whose community is based on mutual use of magic. I like that because it's the argument is, does magic really exist? Does it have any opportunity to, give me over there, to have a role in what it is? And I think we all can agree the science we know today was the magic of yesterday. That which science cannot define would be best defined as magic. And I see as magic as basically it's the undefined potential of knowledge. That's my definition. All right, so as you remember, our friend here is telling us about how it was in the times past that the pharaohs, these individuals, what they call photosol, excuse me, they are alien. They got themselves stuck down here. We found out that they couldn't resist that sex appeal. Well, there you go. So now we're going to talk about his perception of a new age. This gets really interesting. And by the way, I want to say thank you to the number of emails. I did not realize there's that many of us that don't actually participate in the chat room because many of them are at work. But I have been told, thank you. And I just say, you're welcome. People enjoy listening because they can't be here and watch physically. Anyway. All right. So we continue. The new age, a new age. I like that. A new age, which would thus imply that there are many new ages. All right. In those days, there were widespread use of spaceships. There was a continuous connection between the various stars and the divine self, between the spirit world and the human spirit. Interesting. Between the spirit world and the human spirit. The early pharaohs were completely vegan. However, as time went by, they were influenced by humans who corrupted their minds souls, and bodies through the use of forbidden foods and forbidden actions. Instead of interacting with animals, they started eating them. I mean, when I read that yesterday, as I was putting my notes here, that just struck me as odd. What we should have been doing is getting to know them more. They have a knowledge that we don't possess. Instead, what do? We started eating them. They started to eat, even the lions of the royal palace were naturally vegans. Okay. Wherever the photosol landed with their spaceships, they created a superior culture with the leadership of justice and love in order to spread the power of the Spirit and the teachings of the Spirit. Doesn't this all have a certain familiarity to it? Initially, Pharaoh ruled the nation as both Pharaoh, the king, as well as the spiritual leader of the nation. Over time, as the nation grew stronger due to their new culture, happiness, and wealth. So this is one thing, and I'll just say in my political point of view, why is it that neither party can get that? That you don't need rules, you don't need laws, you don't need all this other nonsense. If you want a happy society, allow that society to have happiness and wealth. Let them have favor, empowered to prosper. That makes for a happy population at any time and no matter what time. Anyway, they divided the task among the photosol beings. One was the ruler of the nation, the Pharaoh, while the other was the nation's spiritual leader, the high priest. Although the photosol were housed in a physical body, they were granted perfect spiritual freedom, which completely liberated them from time and space. Because of this divine consciousness, they could move freely between stars and galaxies without the influence of time or space. In other words, they were able to experience the past, the present, and the future simultaneously. That is the fifth dimension. Tomorrow, Trina and I are going to talk more about this because this is the key. He says they didn't put the code in here, but I swear, I'm picking up snippets here and there, and this is one of them. They're saying that they were in that fifth dimension where you could go on the other side of the known universe in a blink of an eye, if not faster, and still retain consciousness, the ability to retain self. Isn't that what most people are afraid about death? That their memories will be gone? Yeah. This means that if we are released from the limitations of time and space by true and pure spiritual consciousness, now get this, we can lead ourselves through our consciousness as our soul desires, whether it is to be a physical or spiritual place. This is done through the purification of the body, the mind, the spirit, and the soul. And I want to stop right here because look at the distinction here. The argument that I see amongst ourselves, and it's not, arguments are not bad. I mean, they're just simply debating ideas out, is what is the soul? What is the spirit? Some say, well, no, you have a spirit and you have a soul, or that the soul is the emotions. I don't know. Here it says something different. It talks about the body, talks about the mind as what I would consider, as the way it's worded here, as a separate entity, identity. Then he says the spirit and the soul. Some say that there is a belief that it's our souls that are trapped, our spirits are above it. I don't know. In such a state of consciousness within the fifth dimension, and there is the key to all this. Isn't it odd how we were talking about this last week, and now we're talking specifically how it is to be able to be in the present moment. And if you can maintain that, your physical body is not a limitation. Your spirit can ascend into the fifth dimension within the ability of understanding that you are neither, you're not really here. None of us are really here. But yet we are. It's something. I mean, I meditate on this. If you think about it, I am my past. I know that. We all know that. That's how we have our memories. Okay, all right. So I can say, yeah, I am my past. So if I am my past, then I am my future. And if I'm my future, then my future has to be present as my past is. Which in essence means that if you think about it, it really means that there is no past, there is no future, there's only the moment. Yes, we can plan for the future, we can think of the past, but those are all merely illusions. It's up on the big screen. What's happening in reality is that we're none of that. Wow. If some of you are, yeah. I think this dude may be playing with it because I think there is code here. Now he says that this is this divine race. He says that in such a state of consciousness within the fifth dimension, in a state of gamma or higher, okay, there's a clue right there. We can reach even higher levels of being, just like the original photosol and the original divine race and pure offsprings used to do. Their capabilities had no physical or spiritual limitations. Wow. I mean, this is superhero kite stuff. I mean, you're Captain America. You're, yeah. And if you look at it, if you don't have any spiritual limitations, ladies and gentlemen, you are God. It says for them, there is no such thing as here or there or we or they. They were able to differentiate between different perspectives of the one and only reality. The one and only reality. Well, I'd like to know that one specifically, which is the beingness that everything is eternal, everything is now, everything is here, everything is one, and we are all one. This is the divine consciousness, which is the God and the divine self of us all. This consciousness, even today, will bring us to the higher places, the highest places. I mean, if you just meditate on this, and I dig it because there's freaking doors everywhere here. This is the problem. And at least this is for myself, is that when I start going inside, this is a wild place to be, folks. I mean, there is no past. There is no future. There's not even the present. But for even the present within itself is limiting. We go for some deep dives here. We're down, way down now on this one, but this one is important. I'm telling you, it's important. We can move with or without a body. We can leave our body and even levitate with the energy of our body without a magical staff. There's another clue of what Moses was doing. Electricity, or even the external battery. It is all done through our bodies, our thoughts, our brains, our hearts, our souls, and our love for ourselves and others, as well as the one and only eternal Creator, God. Love is power. Our power is incomprehensible. It is power that has given us the ability to build pyramids and spaceships, to heal humanity and the people closest to us. However, today we are imprisoned in a time and space devoid of love, peace, spirit, purity, and freedom. Bhakra is a process that can bring just about anyone who wants to invest in themselves to touch the sacred light and become a supernatural being, just as the great Rabbi Adam, the pharaohs, and the high priest were. We can create spiritual or physical contact between all beings throughout the world, no matter the physical distance, whenever we want, through complete, united, and perfect consciousness. I know it sounds delusional, but it is doable. Father Saul lived in this way and acquired a level of power that is incomprehensible to us today. Bhakra must be renewed, and this time it will be accessible to anyone who wants it. I'd be willing to pay the price. How about yourself? I mean, seriously. I've paid a price already. I haven't found knowledge to be harmful. Imagine living in a world without time and space, without walls, without borders, without wars, without disease, without vaccines, without toxins, without drugs, and without doctors. A world of love, brotherhood, and harmony. A world of happiness, wealth, eternal abundance, and equality. A world without a false religion and a fake book of laws that controls you. A world in which you are the law itself. I want to stop on this one. So you, Soul Tribe, each and every one of you, you are a law within yourself. And whatever that law is within yourself is not a law that would be to someone else. It's unique. There's only one like it. And the problem is that when we start denying our own self-laws and exchange it for the laws of something else that we think is going to somehow make us better, and what happens is it's regressive. But we don't look at ourselves as a law. It's the old adage, above all things else, be true to thy own self. The problem is most people, as we know, don't know themselves. I don't know what self is. And so as a result, they betray themselves day in and day out. And they want to know why things are the way they are. A world of justice, a world without false rabbis, false priests, or any other corrupt religious leaders, a world without corrupt lawyers and without corrupt judges or politicians. It is doable. It has already happened and it will happen again. It is better that it happens today rather than tomorrow. We are already on our way to the age of love and the era of endless information and consciousness. We are not far away. In an instant, we will learn the mysticism of water, the mysticism of spirit, the power of the woman, the power of thought, the power of the soul, the power of prayer, the power of forgiveness, and the pyramid code with the codes revealed. This can all happen right here, right now, with full transparency. I like this. In our most connected and true form, we are able to identify with every living being, mentally, spiritually, and energetically. Imagine talking to animals and loving them instead of eating them. Yeah. Regardless of our personal ideas and wishes regarding this tradition of an error, it will happen. This energy will express itself as it is the manifestation of the energy emanating from the divine source and from the collective divine self. With the help of God, this will all happen in the near future. The power of collective unity will always accompany us and help us in the most difficult times. Once again, I am writing all this information from my memory of my near and distant past. I had special teachers and grand spirits who instilled energy within me that is still incomprehensible to me. I hope that I and those close to me will be blessed with that process of the Baccarat because, for the most part, I'm not familiar with due to the fact that I can't remember what it consists of. I have a longing and a deep yearning for the days of my past, don't we all? The days with Rabbi, who was my teacher, my father, and my rabbi, along with beings like Adam, and the Photostop, who were able to instill within me wonderful abilities and memories to this day. They were great and extraordinary spirits and souls. And here again, spirits and souls. He uses this throughout this document, and it's obviously it's part of their culture. I mean, or their beliefs. There's no debate. You have both. The Apostle Paul wrote as much as well, or the writer of the book of Hebrews. There it says that the word of God is powerful, where it actually that we get our word nuclear from, um, radioactive, and it can separate the soul from the spirit from the soul. Interesting. It feels good to share my stories with those close to me. It would feel even better if one day all of my information, including my wonderful experiences, energies, and stories, including the book Rays of Light, would be shared by all people. With all of the codes revealed, full transparency. We're waiting. I just hope it is not done with animosity or judgment, but done with happiness, justice, light, peace, and love. I know this day will come. Better today than tomorrow. I hope to have the right guidance and energy to move forward with my colleagues and my loved ones. Love without differentiation, unconditional love, love with judgment, without judgment, love without fear. And I contend you cannot have unconditional love where you have judgment or fear. That's the problem with the religions today. They say they're love, but they're not. So I read somewhere this week in a commentary that you have to have the fear of God in order to understand God. I thought to myself, that poor dude is so delusional, because I was there. The fear, to be in the presence of God is to be fearful. Okay. So now I have fear. Where does the love come in? You see, it's used as a control mechanism. And again, folks, I've contended we don't know this God of love. It doesn't exist in this realm. It's never manifested itself. It's never written about itself, maybe in snippets, but there is no God of love in this realm. It says that love conquers all fear. Well, then how can I have fear of God if I have love? Because love is supposed to conquer all fear, but yet I'm afraid of God. That's some freaked out thinking, man. I mean, that's power tripping. The creative power is embodied within us at any given time, in every possible degree, and in countless possibilities. This embodiment occurs within us through vibration, movement, and frequency. The stronger and shorter the waves, the embodiments. Isn't this interesting that how he's defining here something that literally becomes material, essence? The more we move away from the concept of materialism within our consciousness, so long as we live in a limited and impure body, with a limited mind and a closed heart, we will not be able to reach the level of consciousness I'm writing about, the fifth dimension or higher. I know that today it is difficult for us to understand the guidance of this consciousness because the waves of thought and the waves of ideas within us are limited due to the lifestyle that we live, along with the way that we were raised and educated. We must take small steps towards a grand goal. The entire universe works and operates through all-pervading frequencies, vibrations, short and long waves, including the divine power and the entire universe's energy. The radiations and energies that I speak of have shaped and continue to shape us as human beings. The very same energies shaped the photosol that lived within our communities, who have been assimilating in our communities for eons and eons. Frequencies, waves, vibrations, positive radiation, and various energies are tools in our possession to move within the physical and spiritual universe. They also offer us indications that something is out of balance. They show us when the vibrational signals in our body go astray. They also give us the power to move and guide the world according to our desire. Of course, this is a process that takes ages according to our limited understanding, but it is doable and the time is coming. The day will come when my memories prove to be true and real. The day will come when humans will discover and control everything, even the most majestic knowledge. The day will come when perfect consciousness will propel us towards the eternal light. We are close. We are already in the journey towards the age of love, the world of truth. I feel like I've drifted a bit and went into subjects we may find difficult to understand. However, I feel that historically, eternal and spiritual knowledge is essential in order to understand the essence of the pyramid code and its eternal code for eons to come. Wow. Okay. This is some good stuff. And just reading it, I mean, we ought to get a panel on this. I mean, this could be a discussion that really gets deep. I mean, this whole section that we just went through it's filled with code. So much here that has been revealed that it's foolish to merely just pass it over through just merely reading it. But that's where the seed gets planted. Mysticism of the pyramid. The pyramids and their secrets, including the many instruments and basic tools, work, move, and operate based on the gravitational pull of the star or planet in which they are located. There's a key right there. It's almost like, you could have a device that we would call a computer, but the fact that this device would only work within the frequency of the sun or the planet for which it was designed for. The self-consciousness of the earth. Isn't that odd? The self-consciousness of the earth. Who'd have thought? Which is, in fact, our self-consciousness. In the force energy that attracts all materials in the earth to the earth. It does so with the desire for union through gravity, which is part of the divine power. Still to this day, Einstein didn't understand gravity, never figured it out, never brought us into the, universal theory. This also symbolizes and expresses the love between creation and nature. We must always work with gravity and not against it. It doesn't matter if you're building a pyramid or a temple. If we work against gravity, everything will fall apart. Now, this is an interesting because, candidly, I haven't been taught on how to begin to manipulate gravity, how to begin to work within the laws of gravity. I know what it is to live it. My body fights it every day, as you do yourself, but it's a force, which means it can be harnessed. It is important to understand that the pyramids and its construction in the form of a pyramid is the best and most appropriate structure for preservation over long periods of time. The pyramid structure also holds the most resistance to natural damage. The pyramids were constructed by and according to the laws of nature in accordance with various mathematical, physical, astronomical, and astrological laws. In the Pharaonic era, astronomy and astrology were considered as one science or knowledge and was called ast. In the Photosol language, every minor or high priest had to be proficient in ast sciences. The pyramid is to be used for a number of purposes: protection, an eternal clock, an eternal calendar, and a tomb for the photosol. The pyramids were used as tombs for the purpose of using the divine bodies of the photosol beings as an energetic defense for the pyramid, its entrance, and the instruments that exist within it. Pharaoh and the high priest had an energy within their bodies that is also present after they die, which acts as a protection for the doors and gates of the pyramid. They were intended to be gatekeepers through the use of their internal energy and through preserving their bodies after they died. Normal human beings do not understand this energy because they cannot measure it. However, the supreme goal of the pyramid was protection. Every pyramid was carefully designed and built. Its location, angle, size of each rock, and type of rock all had a specific reason. The pyramid, for example, the angles of the walls relative to their bases was built at a 51 degrees for various reasons, one of which was to have the sun's rays reflected to great distances. The pyramid also served as a lighthouse for both human and spaceships in the day and at night. Laser beams projected from the apex of the pyramid towards the sky, also at specific angles to specific stars, in order to be in constant communication with different motherships and different stars, planets, that may, over the years, become a new home, just as the Earth became a new home for the photosol beings in the year 1010, according to the Hebrew calendar, or 2750 BC. Originally, all the pyramids were facing different directions according to the stars that they were communicated with. However, for reasons unknown to me, most of the pyramids on Earth and every pyramid on any other planet or star, probably in the millions, were completely destroyed after the Exodus. As I stated earlier, there are fewer than 100,000 pyramids left on Earth. And he said originally there were close to 500,000. All of them are facing north to the North Star. There is one star planet in the physical shape of a pyramid that rotates counterclockwise and moves constantly in the heavens for probably eternity. I know today that the pyramid star planet is the home of Adam and Rabbi A, which is most probably their last destiny or destination. Wow. The entire history of the aliens is carved on the walls within the secret rooms, secret tunnels, and secret cellars of the pyramids. Transcribed on these walls is the history of the pyramid code, as well as the eternal code itself. This infinite knowledge will become common knowledge one day, and human beings will be able to read it, understand it, and use it to decipher the past, present, and future that all exist in the present moment. There's that fifth dimension thinking. Since God is everywhere and in everything alive, humans and animals, plant life, inanimate and spiritual, we must first understand that a pyramid or any other structure is part of God. That is, part of the collective spirit. This means that physical structures are also controlled by the laws of the spirit, the mysticism of the spirit. The third dimensional world is based on the laws of the spirit that we cannot exist without. This means that a pyramid is as much of the eternal divine beings as anything else in the universe. In order to understand these laws, we first must understand God, which is not an easy task. God lives in everything, and everything lives in God. God, in his perfection, can only be understood by those who can or have become God themselves. Apparently, when we reach that state of completely saturating our consciousness, we emerge as 10th dimensional beings. Wow. Kind of makes a little bit of sense, doesn't it? To summarize this insight, only God can understand God. That is worth the price of admission for today. Isn't it amazing how we see and struggle personally, collectively, out there as a species to define God, to know God? God's playing hide and seek. You can't understand the mind of God, around and around. When it really comes down to this, you're never going to understand God because only God can understand God. Now, when you understand that you are God, now you're going to be able to understand God, for only a God can understand God. Got it? Did you get that? All right. Since we, as human beings, have been cut off from our divine self-consciousness long ago, modern day man can only describe and understand the concept of God according to their mental capabilities and inner limitations. How can the finite human understand the infinite God? I am trying very hard to simplify these things before you, and I hope I succeed. It's very difficult to get to the small hidden details without revealing the code. Every action is first manifested through a thought, and one cannot experience their own beingness without the act itself. A thought alone does not put one in a true state of being. A thought can only, the thought only comes into being by the act, and the act becomes a reality only if there is at least one witness. This means that reality is only able to exist if there is an awareness or consciousness to perceive it. A correctly built pyramid with equilateral triangles on each external wall transmits necessary energy for the universe. The apex of the pyramid signifies God, eternal power, and unity. Each vertex at the base of the pyramid also signifies something specific. There are 4 vertices in the bases of the pyramid that represents the living, humans and animals, the plant life, the inanimate, and the spiritual, respectively. All 4 of the vertices are connected in a straight line to the apex of the pyramid through the 4 sides of the pyramid. Fatasol created the laser energy, the EMLP, through the connection to the apex for the divine connection according to their vision and understanding. As I mentioned before, the galactic communication to the eternal light was continuous. I believe that even today there is a connection, but perhaps using a different energetic connection without laser technology, perhaps through the bodies of the ancient pharaohs who stored the energy in their bodies up until today. Spiritual laws and physical laws hold the foundations for building the pyramids. Spirit is life, and physical matter is its resistance. Spirit is radiation, and the physical matter is contractive. Wow. Through the construction of the pyramid, man is the link that connected the spirit world and the physical world. Without the resistance of the physical, creation as a whole would not be possible. The pyramids, their secret tunnels, secret rooms, and the huge basements on which they sit on were themselves the motherships. Every pyramid can levitate by shrinking its base, fly to wherever it desires, and return back to its place as if nothing happened. This is material resistance. All of this is in the hands of the aliens, the Fatistol, in whom lies the power of the mind, the power of thought, the secret of creation, and the complete understanding of the material world. Only with proper combination and harmony between the laws of nature, such as the laws of physics and the laws of the spirit, is it possible to reach this level of power. The Hebrews were the builders of the pyramids, but the pharaohs were the architects. Nothing was done out of force or by suffering. It was considered a privilege to the Hebrews to be part of this event in history. The pyramid code was not a secret at that point in time. As time passed, it turned to become a secret since the pharaoh rulers abused the power given to them and were no longer to be trusted. Wow. Okay. Wow. I love this book. I mean, the thing that gets me is that there's people that they never expand their consciousness beyond what they see, what they consider to be normalcy. This would be considered abnormal. Wow. I mean, this is fabulous knowledge. I'm telling you, got the book, and there are key passages here. I mean, as you start reading this thing and you start reading it over and you start getting it, you can start seeing it. There is a code here. I'm telling you, we're missing something, tribe. We've got to focus in on this to be able to focus in on nothing but the present. Now, there have been movies made about that. And if you can get into that, in fact, I'm remembering one movie in particular, Star Trek, The Next Generation, Insurrection. That movie was based upon that. It's the Stargate. Yeah, the same thing. The Stargate series showed the very same thing, that the Galul, the system lords, could actually, the pyramids were spaceships. Barnette, yeah, the chakras, yeah. There is something within us. I think of Karen, Queen of Courts. They knew how to harness these things, folks. They knew how to do that. They knew how to energize them. And I've shown you before what happens when you put a laser to a crystal. It has the most amazing energy to it. Hey there. Thank you, David Barry. Much love to you, brother. It's just, to me, the most fascinating thing you could actually see. And I've known something. We use lasers today to communicate, right? Yeah. Fiber optics. But, you know, when I look at Sanji, for instance, and I want to show you what I mean. So here's Sanji. Hello, Sanji. Say hello, everybody. So if I put this at the base, look what happens. It's there. I mean, let me get the other one here. We're in class. This is what we do in class. All right. Of course, it helps if it actually would. There we go. So red is obviously not. Where'd we go? Well, I had it there. So let's see. Again, you can see what happens to the crystal. And if I bring it really close, which I can't, you can actually see how the light is refracted. It's very cool. It's right there in front of us. We just got to harness it. Charlene, Sanji is very powerful. You can do some meditative sessions with this and you start getting your energy in this. And Brian Barnette, when he left a lot of his energy in here, and it's quite amazing. Powerful force within this crystal. I got to tell you, it is just something. Yeah. But getting back to what we were reading about, I mean, and Sanji, I mean, just using lasers and crystals. It's the same thing when many of you who hold the key crystals that Karen has sent out, we're all connected. I mean, I experiment with these things all the time, and it's quite amazing to me as he looks here. Here we go. I knew there was one I was missing. When you get these all set up on their stands, it's quite amazing. So this is, you can see this is one of the master keystones. This thing is loaded. I mean, this thing's got power in it that it stays right here next to me. And let me show you what happens when I get the military grade laser on Sanji. Now that is wild, isn't it? I don't know if y'all are seeing that. Say hi, Sanji. Weird, isn't it? Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Man, we're learning about self. And for decades, you know, I was told to sacrifice self. The thing I didn't realize, I was committing suicide slowly. Self is good. Self allows me to be self to others because there's other selves. Cool color. Yeah, it is. Darth, it is. All right. Much favor to all of you. Thank you. It's an honor to be here each day with you. Thank you, Soul Tribe, and the visitors. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for just being you, for your precious gifts. Kaz, much love to you, hon. Nina, Mystic, thank you. Robin Robinson, thank you. All of you, thank you. See you tomorrow with Miss Trina Phoenix. I want to get more into this fifth dimension thinking. Big Al, I'm telling you, this would be something on the Andromeda project as well. Hey, Miss Trina, hope you're feeling better. All right, folks, we'll